The women's prize is out. The Booker prize is coming. So it is very much bookish prize season on BookTube, and the Booker longlist is due to be announced on the 26th of July. So I am going to predict what's going to be on it. All right, Gemma. So if you are unfamiliar with the Booker Prize is a literary prize which awards the best novel, subjective, but the best novel written in English and published in the UK between the 1st of October 2021 and the 29th of September 2022. So as I mentioned before, the long list will be announced on the 26th of July, and then the short list will be announced on the 6th of September, and the winner will be announced on the 17th of October. So I am fully bought into all of the book prize hype, just all of the book prizes. And so I thought, why not try and predict the books that will be on the long list? So sometimes the Booker has 12 books on the long list, and sometimes it has 13. So we have either a dozen or a baker's dozen. So I'm going to predict 13 just to give myself an extra shot. If it's only 12, then I've got a free guess. And I originally wasn't going to do this video because I was like, I'm not really qualified, I don't really know anything about the Booker Prize. But then I thought, literally no booktubers are on the Booker Prize judging panel, so is anyone really qualified? And I'm going to give it a go. So I have seen that there are a few other people who have released their predictions, and I am dying to watch them, but I haven't, because I didn't want to be swayed. I didn't want to adjust my list once I'd seen them. I thought, oh yeah, I should have put that on. So this is completely from Gemma's mind. And then as soon as I've filmed and edited this, I can go and watch Shelley Swearingen's video and KD Book's video because I would very much like to see what they put on. And they've both doubled up this year, so I'm also going to get Fraser Simon's thoughts and Sarah's thoughts from Freshly Read Books. So I will link those videos below because, yeah, let's see how different our lists are. And without any further waffle, the first book I think will be on the list is The Magician by Colm Toibin. This book follows the writer Thomas Mann and his life, basically. Thomas Mann, I think he grew up in Germany and he was gay, but he married and had children, and it's just about his whole life. I saw Charles Heathcote review this the other day. If I can find the video, I'll link that below. And he said it was really good, quiet but excellent, is I think the headline news from Charles's review. So I very much want to get to it and hope that I see it on this list. The second book I'm going to predict is The Lincoln Highway by Amor Towles. This one is set in the 1950s, and we're following a guy who is sort of released from a work camp, I think, where he was serving a sentence for some crime, and he's driven back to his hometown state, and when he gets there he discovers that two of the other convicts escaped in the boot, and it's what happens from there. Sounds really good. Amor Towles has been an author that I've been meaning to try for ages. In particular, I'd really like to try A Gentleman in Moscow, but I think this one has a pretty good chance of being on the list. I should probably mention that these predictions are just based on what I would like to see on the list, paired with what I think the Booker Prize is looking for in as much as literary fiction, and whether I've heard good things about them from other booktubers. So it's really the gut feel, Gemma's gut feel on the Booker is what this is. Okay, third up, I am going to predict Fight Night by Miriam Toews. So both Scots from Gunpowder Fiction and Plot and Alice at Alice and the Giant Bookshelf have given this rave reviews. Miriam Toews is a Canadian author, and this book follows a 9-year-old. I think it's from the perspective of the 9-year-old, as she is sort of homeschooled by her grandmother and her mother is having a baby. And I think it's just sort of like family drama, but it's supposed to be really, really funny. The grandmother character is supposed to be fantastic, and yeah, I've had nothing but good things, so it'd be nice to see it on the list. Next up is the only one I've actually read myself, and that is The Sentence by Louise Erdrich. I didn't love this book, but I think it has a lot of Booker qualities. So in this, we follow a young Native American woman who goes to prison for a crime, and when she's released, she goes to work in a bookshop and finds that it is haunted. This really is very much a social commentary book. There's a lot of commentary around what it is to be Native American in America. It covers the whole COVID period. George Floyd's murder is also referenced within this book. So it's a really current book looking at current issues. It didn't particularly work for me, but I think it has a good chance of being on this list. Next up, I'm going to go for Crossroads by Jonathan Franzen. I'm not 100% unsure on this one because this is the first in a trilogy. It wouldn't be the first time books and series have been on the Booker. There was, I think, Hilary Mantel's were on here, and Titsi Nangaramba. Apology if I've butchered that name. I think both of them have had sequels on this list, so it doesn't discount it. But I know people don't love to see books and series, so first in a series is okay. And that is what this is. And from what I can gather, this is just the story of a family and the way their lives interact. You have sort of the mother and father who aren't getting on particularly well, who have grown up children, who some of them are doing better than others, and the way their lives intersect. So yeah, and I think it's set in the 70s. Yeah, set in the 70s in Chicago. And I've had a lot of good things about this. And I would really like to get to this one before the next one comes out, so that I can actually be up to date with the series for the first time ever in my entire life. Next up, I couldn't not put Young Mungo on the list by Douglas Stuart, because Shuggie Bain won this award 2 years ago by the same author. I have heard mixed things about Young Mungo. Some people think it is as good, if not better, than Shuggie Bain, and other people really didn't gel with it. But it's a similar sort of story. It follows a young boy, Mungo, in Glasgow, and he meets another guy. One of them's Catholic and one of them's Protestant, and it's about the sort of religious divide that they face as they fall in love. So yeah, it absolutely sounds like a book for me that I would love. I just haven't got to it yet. Next up, I'm going to go for a book that hasn't had loads and loads of reviews, but I think stands a good shot based on the author, and that is The Fell by Sarah Moss. This came out, I think it was in October last year, if not November, and this is another COVID novel where a woman illegally goes out for a long walk and falls down a hole or off a cliff, or no, she doesn't fall off a cliff. I think she falls down like a hole or something and has to be rescued, but she shouldn't have been out in the first place, and it sort of deals with all those issues. But yeah, like I say, I don't think I've seen any reviews for it, which is odd because Sarah Moss is a pretty prolific and well-loved author. But yeah, I think she could make an appearance on this list. Next up, I'm going to pick Our Wives Under the Sea by Julia Armfield. In this one, we are reading from the perspective of a woman whose wife has had some sort of trauma at work, and she does deep sea research. So I don't know quite what happened. Something happened and she got stuck at the bottom of the ocean. And when she comes back from that trauma, she is not the same. And it's about their life and can they get back to what they had, I think. So yeah, it sounds good. Again, I think I've seen some good reviews for this one, so I wouldn't be surprised to see it on the list. My 10th guess is How High We Go in the Dark by Sequoia Nagamatsu. Apologies. When I was putting this list together, this one I actually hyped myself up so much for that I bought it. So it is in the post. at the moment. But this one is a post-apocalyptic jobby, and I think it covers like a really wide time frame, like hundreds of years. We follow loads of different characters, and it's about like after like some sort of climate plague disaster, how humanity like rebuilds the world. Sounds so interesting, and I believe this is a debut, but it sounds fab, and I had to pick it up, so I did. Next up, I'm going for Lapvona by Ottessa Moshfegh. Again, Ottessa Moshfegh sort of is that sort of author that screams bugger bugger to me. So her latest novel is set in a medieval fiefdom, and we follow a young motherless shepherd boy who something happens and he finds himself at the centre of a power struggle. So I think there's things about his mother that his father didn't tell him or something along those lines. But yeah, I probably won't pick this up if it's not shortlisted, because I'm not sure Ottessa Moshfegh is my sort of author, but we shall see. But yeah, I think that stands a pretty good chance. Next up, Love Marriage by Mona Ali, and this is about a young girl whose parents were born in India, and her British boyfriend, and the fact that they have chosen to get engaged and have a love marriage rather than an arranged marriage, and the differences between cultures and classes, and yeah, that sort of thing. Mona Ali is a pretty well-known author. She wrote Brick Lane, and yeah, I think that could be on the list too. And then my last guess is True Biz by Sarah Novich, and this is a story about a deaf school, about the teachers and the students in a deaf school, and I think a hearing child comes in, and it's about that dynamic, and it's just supposed to be fabulous, and I would love to see it on the list. This is one that I think I will read regardless of whether it's longlisted, shortlisted, whatever. It definitely sounds like a book that would float my boat. And yeah, that is 13 books. So let me know if you've read any of these, if you agree with any of my predictions, and like I say, it's time to start doing the rounds and see what everyone's predicting, and see how horribly wrong we can get it, like everybody did with the Women's Prize. So yeah, thanks very much for watching, guys, and I will catch you very soon with another one.